perspective on NIL and transfer portal, do you feel like it's very similar to what professional football feels like now, or is with all the transactions and everything?
That's a great question. Some of the things are really similar. The fact that guys are making money, you're talking about contracts and different things like that. Of course, in the NFL is a little more structured. As far as you may have a guy, you draft him, he's probably going to be there for 5 years, and then the fourth year you can renegotiate that contract and different things like that. Where here in that NIL area, it's more like, heck, we might be in negotiations here in the next coming days with guys, and so that part is really tough. There's just lack of structure that we have now in NCAA that's a lot different than NFL. Just a lot more structured and controlled, and you kind of know what you're having there. But the free agency stuff is the same. Like I said, guys getting money, that's the same too. And I'm happy that the guys get to get paid now and get a chance to make money off their name, image, and likeness.
Yeah, and you talk about lack of structure. Is there a positive for you or negative? Like, kind of, where's the line?
It's both.
Yeah.
It's really both. Right now, we had 39 seniors, so without the transfer portal and different things like that, I doubt if we were able to bring in enough guys to kind of fill that up. We would be a lot younger team now if it wasn't for the transfer portal. But the transfer portal giveth and it taketh away too. And there's going to be some guys. There's some guys who left, and we might have it again. I hope not. But you just worry about that as you go. But you just try to create a great culture that guys just want to be here and be around. And if it's about money for guys, hopefully you got enough to pay them. And if you don't, and that's what they want, then they're going to go and take other opportunities. And like I said, I'm happy that guys get to do that. And I'm also glad that we're allowed to bring guys in that can help us fulfill our roster. And I'm happy with the guys we brought in.
Yeah, and now, like, the conclusion of spring practice, how was your first official spring with Kansas Football STC?
It was a lot of fun. We wanted to play fast, physical for each other, and I think those first two things we really did a good job of. We're playing a lot faster, just watching the film, which is great. Guys are flying around, and when you play fast, naturally you're going to play physical. If you run that far to a football, man, you're going to want to make someone pay when you get there. And so we've done that. We call some turnovers and different things like that. Nowhere are we close to where we need to be to go play a game right now, but I like the steps we take. And I think the next step as we go into the summer and different things like that is we got to grow closer together, playing for each other. I think when you bring this many new guys in, the opportunity for them to get to know each other is really important because, the more you know people and the more you care about people, you go harder for people you care about. And so we're just trying to get guys to that point where they really care for one another, play hard for one another.
Coach, in terms of the new guys who come in, is there anybody who kind of stuck out to you?
I think they've all done a great job. Really, really happy with them. First of all, just happy with what they've done off the field. Coming in, studying film, just being acclimated to the group. They all done a great job with it. McDonald has done a great job. He has a great skill set that we like. Joseph Sitt has done a good job. Trey Latham, list keeps going on. The new DBs we brought in are doing a great job. Lyric is taking a great leadership role. Justice Fink is, a great natural leader. He's the first one out to practice all the time. So the great thing about it, when you bring guys in from a lot of different areas, they got a lot of different experiences that they bring to guys and that they share with guys and some of the highs and lows that they have. And I think that's really been good. And like I said, they all have stuck out in a number of ways. You watch the scrimmage, today, and we've had some of those guys, they're running around, hitting people. Laquan was smacking people today, and that's fun to see.
And in terms of when you hear a lot of players talk about culture, how do you get guys to buy into the culture so quickly?
Yeah, I think first of all you got to have a culture that guys want to buy into. We always talk about buy-in, but you got to make sure you have something in place that people can buy into. And I think you just got to give them a vision of who they are and who they can become. I know Coach Lipo does just a masterful job of creating culture here, and then that's echoed by Coach Sleeve and all the rest of us coaches too. So I think we do a great job of giving the guys something to buy into, and then guys make the choice to buy into it because they see the results of what happens when you do it right. We're not just making guys do things for any reason. We do it because that's the best chance for them to have success. And so I think when guys see that and new guys coming in, they see that the older guys have done that and they've gotten better, I think it makes it a lot easier for guys to buy into.
On that same note, a lot of these guys you've been around a couple years now, you know them, you know what makes them tick, they know you. with the newcomers? How do you do that dance of, I think Lance just said that your standard and the standard you put from in terms of effort and strain for these guys is really impressive and something guys connect with. How do you do the dance of guys you just met, newcomers, getting on them, pushing them so early in your relationship with them?
Yeah, I think it's just about trust. You can only push people to the level they trust you. And, you know, for me, it's, you know, the biggest thing is being competent, giving them something that can help them. I think we all kind of trust people more that can help us. And these guys just want to come and be helped. So I just give them that. I try to have great character, try to be the same person every day. They know what they're going to get from me. They're going to get the truth from me. And I think guys really respect that. They might not like how it comes across, but I think they do like that I'm going to be honest with them and go from there. But if you have competency and you got character, I think guys really know, and they know I care about them. I wrap my arms around them, I love them up. But they also know there's a standard by which we play, and I'm not going to let them fall below that standard. And most of all, I want to make sure our seniors go out playing great football. So now I pour everything I can, and I know our coaches do, into those seniors going and playing great football. So I think when you're competent, you're caring, and they know that you can help them, you know, I think it's easy to gain trust there. And then trust is easier, you know, lost than gained. So you just try to make sure you're doing the right things, that you're not losing that trust. And when you're wrong, you got to admit that you're wrong. And I've done that with guys, and our coaches have done that with guys. But also, man, you got to put the stick to them too. Guys still crave discipline because they want to be the best they can be.
DK Lance had talked about the analysts, how much they help you guys out. Does that help you get around and work with the defense instead of being stuck with the position group?
Oh, without a doubt, I think you know, the new rule that we have of, you know, those analysts get the coach is really, really helpful. You know, just all those guys from Burkett to Deneen. I mean, those guys are masterful coaches at what they do, and so it does allow me to kind of go around and be with the DBs a little bit, be with the linebackers, check on our big guys up front, and just kind of see some things and kind of be an extra set of eyes for our coaches too. So I think that's a great rule. And then we're on special teams. I see Coach Deneen down there working with the defensive linemen, and I think that's big time too, because those guys get that extra teaching that they wouldn't get if he wasn't able to coach. So it's a great rule, and then we're very fortunate to have some great guys who can help us with that too.
What's the addition of Deneen been like, and does he tell you how good he was?
He does. He lights up when we get a chance to talk about. We had an alumni event last night, and you could tell he was in his element there. He had about 3 buttons unbuttoned, and he was ready to rock and roll. So, but Coach Deneen is, you know, he's tremendous. He's tremendous, and I had the opportunity to coach in my alma mater when I started my coaching career. There's just a certain level of pride that you have when you get to coach at a place that you played at, and you had blood, sweat, and tears. You're in the locker room with the guys. There's just a certain level, you know, that you have, and I can see that in his eyes. I can see him, the excitement that he has when he's on the field. He knows he's helping the Jayhawks get better, and I love having him here. He's a great guy, great mind, and great guy to bounce ideas off. So I'm really fortunate to have him here with me.
Hey, Coach. Lance was saying that the linebackers were really standing out to him this spring. What is it about that group that is looking so good this early?
Yeah, Coach Simpson does a tremendous job with those guys. You know, first of all, like we talked about, building a relationship, first of all, and then he does a good job just coaching them. And then we got a lot of talent in that room, and a lot of depth, and a lot of competition. I think the competition really stood out this spring for us, you know, because those guys knew they couldn't have a bad day. And so, you know, competition brings out the best in you, and I think it really did for that group. They didn't know who was ones, who were twos, and you know, we really still don't. But we know that we have enough depth to go out and try to win a championship this year. I like that those guys can come off the edge and blitz. We got a group of guys who can cover, but most of all, we got a group of guys who can run and smack people in the mouth and try to separate them from the football, and that's the part I love, the physical part about them. So they do a great job of playing fast. They do a great job of playing physical, and now we got to get them to be more leaders and more vocal. We got a couple guys in there who are doing that, but I think the summer is going to be really important for that group to make sure that they're doing a good job of being vocal and playing for the rest of the team.
In the safety room, you had talked kind of before the spring how interested you were to see the leaps for Taylor Davis, Mason Ellis, some of those guys. How did they fare in coming back, and what was their spring like?
They did a really good job. Really good job. I'm really happy with Taylor Davis. He's really taken a big step. First of all, in his leadership, you know, he's vocal. You hear him every single practice, being out there. And then as far as playmaking, he's got his hands on quite a few balls this spring, which is, I think, the next step he had to make. You know, last year he was just kind of out there. He filled in the role that we needed with injuries, but now I think he's taking a step with leadership and making plays. You know, Mason Ellis was a guy who played early for us, and he had the injuries, and he did a really good job. He played a little nickel for us too this spring, as well as playing safety. And if he can stay healthy, he's another guy who can have a really good year for us and help us be a championship defense. And then the addition of Lyric, like I said, has been great. I mean, he is a pros. He is a leader, and we're really happy to have him. We really hit it big with having him on our team right now.
Does it help in terms of teaching the defense when you're going up against an offense like you guys have with the multiple personnel groups, with the shifts and all those things? How does that help them get ready and kind of learn what they need to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. Our offense is, they provide so many problems for you, just the way that they motion shift, so many different formations. And so it's like a master class in learning for our guys, you know, because a lot of that we don't get to see in our conference, but against our offense we do, from 12 personnel to unbalanced. All that stuff is just great stuff for us to learn, for us to get teach tapes, for us to go back over in the summer. So if you can communicate and get lined up against our offense, there's not too many offenses in the Big 12 that we won't be able to communicate and get lined up against. So we're really fortunate to get a chance to practice every day against that type of offense. And Coach Z and those guys, they do a tremendous job, as well as the talent that we have on that side of the ball too. So when you got to guard those receivers we guard, or when you got to wrap up, you know, high shaw, man, you're going against some of the best guys in the Big 12, and that's really fun.
Anything else, Coach McDonald? All right, thanks everyone.